a man who converted after attacking Saint Philip Benicio. He became devoted to the Virgin Mary and is now known as the Saint of Healing. Today's curiosities are about Saint Peregrine. Here are 11 facts about him. 11. Origin and birth. Saint Peregrine, known as the Saint of Healing, was born in 1265 in the city of Forlì, Italy. The only child of a traditional and cultured family, he grew up in an environment that valued education and devotion. The influence of his family and the education he received shaped his personality and values. The love and faith that permeated his home were fundamental to his spiritual formation. In his youth, Peregrine became involved in a religious reform movement that sought to revive the principles of the Christian faith, leading him to join the Order of Servants of Mary. His life took a deeper turn when he decided to enter the convent, where he dedicated himself to prayer, meditation, and the practice of virtues. His total commitment to God and the pursuit of holiness were defining characteristics of his journey. Devotion to the Virgin Mary also stood out in his life, and he became a fervent intercessor, always seeking the protection and inspiration of the Mother of God. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe to not miss any curiosities about the saints. 10. Commemoration Date. The commemoration date for Saint Peregrine is celebrated annually on May 5th. This day is marked by intense devotion among the faithful, who gather in churches and communities to pray for his intercession, especially in times of need, such as serious illnesses and emotional difficulties. Saint Peregrine is widely recognized as the patron saint of the sick, particularly those battling cancer and other terminal illnesses. Therefore, the celebration on May 5th becomes a significant moment of hope and faith for many who believe in the power of the saint's intercession. 9. Encounter with Saint Philip Benicio. The story of Saint Peregrine takes on a new dimension when, at 18 years old, he becomes involved in a tumultuous episode that would change the course of his life. At that time, Peregrine participated in an attack against the Pope, driven by political and social influences that permeated his youth. During this attack, he assaulted Saint Philip Benicio, a religious man on a mission in his city, Forlì, Italy. Saint Philip, known for his kindness and commitment to peace, did not succumb to the hatred and anger of the young man. Instead, he chose to welcome Peregrine with compassion and understanding, demonstrating the true spirit of forgiveness. This gesture deeply touched Peregrine's heart, and as he reflected on his actions, he began to feel intense remorse. Recognizing the gravity of his act and the importance of forgiveness, Peregrine sought out Saint Philip to seek absolution. The saint's warm welcome and willingness to forgive had a significant impact on Peregrine's life, prompting him to change his path. Inspired by the example of faith and mercy shown by Saint Philip Benicio, he dedicated himself to a life of prayer and service to God, renouncing his previous life and seeking profound spiritual conversion. This transformative encounter between the two saints not only sealed their friendship but also marked the beginning of Saint Peregrine's journey as a fervent defender of the faith and an intercessor for the sick. Leave your prayer requests in the comments for Saint Peregrine to intercede for you before God. 8. Spiritual conversion. After the impactful encounter with Saint Philip Benicio, Saint Peregrine's life underwent a profound spiritual transformation. Moved by remorse and a desire to reconnect with his faith, he dedicated himself intensely to prayer and meditation. Peregrine began to seek divine guidance, leading him to turn especially to the Virgin Mary, recognizing her as a model of love and devotion. In his prayers, he asked Mary to guide him on his spiritual journey and help him find a new purpose in life. This devotion to the Mother of God not only inspired him to deepen his spirituality but also to seek a life of service to others. Through her intercession, Peregrine began to feel a flame of hope and renewal burning in his heart. In her goodness, the Virgin Mary directed Peregrine to the Order of Servants of Mary, a religious congregation dedicated to serving and devoting themselves to her. In Siena, where the order had a strong presence, he found a supportive environment for his spiritual growth and a community that shared his values of love and service. Joining the Order of Servants of Mary not only provided Peregrine with a structure for his life of faith but also empowered him to engage in charitable works and attend to the needs of the most vulnerable. 7. Life of penitence. Saint Peregrine dedicated himself to a life of severe penance as a way to express his profound devotion and remorse for his sins. He believed that discipline and the mortification of the body were essential for purifying his soul and drawing closer to God. This intense practice of penance became a distinctive mark of his religious and spiritual life. Often, Peregrine refused to sit, choosing instead to spend long hours standing or kneeling in prayer. He believed that this renunciation of physical comfort helped him remain vigilant and focused on his spiritual quest. Instead of using a bed to rest, he often lay on the floor, considering this practice a way to identify with the suffering of Christ and to humble himself before God. Moreover, Peregrine dedicated himself to rigorous fasting, avoiding not only luxurious foods but often limiting himself to simple meals. He saw these sacrifices as a way to purify his body and strengthen his spirit. His austere lifestyle was a testimony to his seriousness regarding faith and his determination to follow the example of Christ, who also dedicated himself to a life of sacrifice and love. Saint Peregrine's life of penance was not just a matter of personal rigor, it also inspired many around him. His contemporaries saw in him a model of genuine faith and commitment to spirituality, encouraging others to reflect on their own lives and seek a deeper relationship with God. Through his dedication and sacrifice, he became a symbol of conversion and spirituality, showing that true faith often requires renunciation and a deep commitment to prayer and penance. 6. Illness and healing. At the age of 60, Saint Peregrine faced one of the greatest challenges of his life. He contracted a severe illness that resulted in the development of a malignant sore on his leg. The pain and suffering were intense, and the situation became critical, leading doctors to recommend the amputation of the affected limb. This moment of crisis did not shake his faith, on the contrary, it strengthened it. On the night before the surgery, Peregrine withdrew for a time of deep prayer. He surrendered himself to God, asking for help and healing, demonstrating his trust in divine providence. During this period of intense prayer, he had a powerful vision in which Jesus appeared to him and, with a gesture of compassion, healed his wound. This experience not only brought him immediate relief but also renewed his spirit and commitment to his life of faith. At dawn, doctors and those around him were surprised to see that the sore had completely disappeared, leaving no traces. Saint Peregrine's healing was considered a miracle, and many began to recognize him as a saint. 5. Miracles. After the death of Saint Peregrine, which occurred in 1345, his life of faith and devotion continued to inspire and touch many people, resulting in a series of miracles attributed to his intercession. His reputation as a powerful intercessor grew rapidly, and many faithful began to invoke him in their needs, especially in cases of illness. One of the most notable miracles associated with him was the healing of a paralyzed boy. This young man, who had suffered for years, was taken to the tomb of Saint Peregrine by his mother, who was desperate for help. With fervent prayer and confidence in the saint's intercession, the mother implored for healing. To the joy and surprise of all, the boy stood up and began to walk, a powerful testimony of God's compassion and power manifested through Saint Peregrine. Another impressive miracle was the healing of two individuals who were battling cancer. Both people were in advanced stages of the disease, and after fervent prayers asking for Peregrine's intercession, they reported an inexplicable recovery. The doctors who treated them could not understand how, after being in intensive treatment and without hope, the patients presented complete remissions. These miracles and many others led to the canonization of Saint Peregrine, and he was officially recognized by the Church as a saint. 4. Canonization. Saint Peregrine was canonized by Pope Benedict XIII in 1726, an act that officially recognized his holiness and the fundamental role he played in the spiritual lives of many. His canonization not only celebrated his life of penance and devotion but also highlighted the numerous miracles that occurred through his intercession after his death, especially in relation to the healing of serious illnesses, such as cancer. With this canonization, Saint Peregrine became the patron saint of cancer patients, a designation that brought comfort and hope to many facing this difficult disease. 3. Incorrupt Body. Saint Peregrine's body remains incorrupt to this day, a phenomenon that fascinates both the faithful and scholars. This miraculous condition is seen as a sign of the saint's holiness and his intense devotion to God. The reliquary housing his relics can be found in the Cathedral of Forlì, Italy, his hometown. Within this reliquary, devotees can observe parts of Saint Peregrine's body, including tissue, muscle, hair, and skin, all remarkably preserved over the centuries. This rare phenomenon not only increases veneration for Saint Peregrine but also attracts many pilgrims and tourists to the cathedral, where they seek inspiration and spiritual comfort. The presence of his incorrupt body has become a living testament to his faith and the miracles attributed to him. The faithful believe that by praying before his relics, they can experience blessings and healings, solidifying the importance of Saint Peregrine as an intercessor and patron saint of the sick, especially those facing cancer. His incorruptibility is not just a historical curiosity but a profound symbol of hope and faith for many seeking the intercession of this saint. 2. Place of worship in Brazil. In Brazil, one of the most significant places of worship for Saint Peregrine is located in Turvo, Santa Catarina. The chapel dedicated to him has become a sacred space where many faithful gather to make their prayers and requests for intercession. The devotion to Saint Peregrine in this region has grown over the years, attracting people seeking comfort and hope in their difficulties, especially those related to illness. The chapel serves as a meeting point for devotees, where celebrations, masses, and moments of prayer are regularly held. During the festivities in honor of Saint Peregrine, many faithful participate in large numbers, demonstrating their faith and gratitude for the graces received. 1. Miraculous Appearances. During the wake of Saint Peregrine, several miraculous appearances occurred, leaving those present astonished and deeply impressed. These extraordinary events began to be reported shortly after his death, evidencing the power of his intercession and the strength of his holiness. One of the most notable miracles was the healing of a woman who had been possessed. The faithful, in fervent prayer, implored Saint Peregrine to intercede for her. Amid this plea, the woman, who was in a state of extreme suffering and unrest, was freed from her possession, causing a great commotion among those present. This event reinforced the belief that the saint's presence continued to perform miracles even after his passing. Another impactful case was that of a young man who suffered a severe fall from a tree. He was seriously injured, and the situation seemed critical. During the wake of Saint Peregrine, family and friends of the young man united in fervent prayer, asking for his recovery. To everyone's surprise, the young man began to show signs of improvement and, in no time, was completely healed of his wounds, which was seen as a clear manifestation of Saint Peregrine's intercession. These miraculous healings during his wake not only solidified the devotion to Saint Peregrine but also contributed to his canonization, leading many to recognize his holiness and seek his intercession in times of distress. These curiosities reflect not only the life and spirituality of Saint Peregrine but also his lasting impact on the Catholic faith and the devotional practices of the faithful. And we come to the end of another story full of curiosities. Don't forget to leave in the comments which saint's curiosities you would like to see here on the channel. And until the next story.